My friend, welcome to this episode. So today we discuss some of the common mistake that I see across management, and especially I will explain each and which kind of impact it does have in terms of security. So let's start from the first problem. The ecosystem, the environment is never homogeneous. You do have stuff scattered across on-prem, cloud. You even the definition of cloud is not specific. It can be multi-cloud. It can be across infrastructure as a service, PaaS, SaaS. All these things are well common sense, but we need to focus on the fact that if you want to have visibility, you need to be capable to unify that visibility across whatever stack you are having. So generally, as I discussed in other videos, orchestration orchestration layer is a good tapping point, but you need to think that you should have the same visibility across infrastructure as a service and PaaS as well, and you should have the same kind of consistency also in terms of security control across an AWS, a GCP, an Azure, whatever. And so it's the same if you have private clouding like OpenStack, or if you do use a strongly virtualized kind of on-prem environment. So unify this visibility and make it possible for an incident response to see this big picture across each environment is vital. Because if you want to investigate, you need to have that visibility. Another mistake, think too much into pen testing and not have the proper balance into forensics. So everybody know the importance of forensics. Everybody know how quicker and easier it's becoming with all this API integration in the cloud service space, but not much investment is down there. If you disagree with that, check the job spec around and see the average of requests into skills like volatility or other forensics kind of tools. So also in terms of SecDevOps, you you think of SecDevOps as an integration of a pipeline, shift the lift, but not actually having the pipeline distributed across all function, including the forensics. Forensics need a special thinking in terms of environment as well, in terms of infrastructure. You need to be capable to have a separated line for those kind of images for sandboxes. You need to be 100% sure that it doesn't become a lateral path that dedicated environment. So that is one of the biggest conversation I think that should be pushed more across the industry. Another things, everybody talk about how is changing the model that is moving from asset to data centric, a lot of conversation on DLP, but let's be honest, it's not just a conversation, should be part of the actual implementation. And you see how difficult is the integration even across solution in this space. You have a fragmentation. For example, in DLP, the only common things that you can find across various stack is an ICAP interface. But how you extend it to that, how does it interact with each cloud service provider? Think about Masi or other DLP solution, cloud oriented. And so how you track, and also this data centric conversation is not tailored on a post breach situation. So you should have all controls to avoid the breach, but you should have also good control when if the data gets exfiltrated. I'm talking about DRM, I talk about other situation. So what I'm trying to suggest is strategy should be tailored ad hoc to fit the completely different environment model across on-prem, multi-cloud, private, but you should have an overall picture of all these pieces fit together. Another problem is I've been in the industry for the last 20 years, so I've seen when security was duty of each team, and I saw this big vertical into the CISO. There are conflict terms and statements around the shop here. Security is everybody's responsibility, but the vertical is so strong that you still find people saying, I'm not security. And this one is showing the gaps in the industry. We should have an horizontal kind of function. We should have more interchangeable kind of roles. Also considering that even automation of incident response is becoming a separated silo. Why the SOAR is integrated in the other pipeline? And which kind of security problem you are going to fix that it can't be fixed by the infrastructure one. And here we go to the other point about the integration. I always thought, and I'm believing that the role that is missed in security is a security integrator. Somebody that does have the big picture and does study the integration of the components. Don't tell me that he is the architect. This is not actually what is happening, because you find companies that bought tons of product that are now obsoleted, and there is no continuous study on optimization. We talk a lot about business cost, but we don't talk on how to achieve that business cost reduction. So integration is a big conversation that should be there. Don't measure security posture is something that always surprised me. You do have risk evaluation, risk measuring, especially when you do quantitative risk assessment, but you don't have an overall score. And that actually is there, because if you think the CIS benchmark, what is a score? All cloud service providers provide you that kind of information. And in a world that is going to be data driven, all these should be unified in a view, like I was stating at the first point, but that is strictly bounded to the score. And so don't measure security posture is just sort of gap that I don't know if is driven by all these silos and each doesn't see each other priority, but all this dashboarding that the last 5-6 years are becoming popular. Now you have flexibility of Grafana, you have it's not a problem to do dashboarding, but it's how you do the dashboarding, the intelligence behind the dashboarding that is the missed bit. So if you don't measure the security posture, how you can claim that your security strategy is effective? It's actually a conflict in terms. You define as a CISO the strategy, and you define that it is successful. Is based on the number of breach? No, because there are 0 day involved, there are APT, most of the time. Anyway, it's not always so evoluted the attack, but it's just to say that it's not a valuable way to measure the success of a security team. Security posture, it is, because if there is a security culture, it does influence the company. So another problem that I see is don't challenge C executive on tabletop exercises. It's not just a simulation, it's a preparation. It doesn't exist any team that it doesn't prepare to a failure. And why C-level executive should be an exception. why you should find friction within the board in a critical pressure time, like a ransomware or whatever else. That is a big mistake, is a management mistake. And management is the key driver. And so everything should be tested, like the disaster recovery. You need to test your executives. You need to have a unique voice during an incident. That is a big miss. Don't prepare legal communication out in advance. When you have a data breach, an incident, a difficult situation, legal is becoming a bit a bottleneck. And don't take me wrong, I don't think it's a bottleneck. I think it's mandatory, but it's becoming a bottleneck because nothing was prepared in advance. So having template in communication, in external communication, have unique transparency towards the public. We saw data breach after data breach, how company that communicated in a clear manner gave that good vibe and is helping the shareholder, is helping everybody, even the employees. When there is stress, don't expect that the employees doesn't think on changing job. And so having a solid management that it does have experience with exercises and have legal and C executive that agree in advance some typical case scenario in terms of communication to make everything slimmer and faster is mandatory and is not there. You have communication and process for communicating the incidents, but you miss the back office kind. You need to communicate to customer, you need to send over mail, all those things should be already templated, be part of a playbook. We talk a lot about playbook and incident response, and we miss this kind of playbook too. So talk with legal, analyze the situation, do simulation, see which kind of template. At the time, when you are relaxed, you have more time to think. And so you need to prepare it before, not after and during. Don't have internal threat and supply chain attack framework. Okay, supply chain is a bit a fashionable things right now. We see all attacks, we see that is the weak link. I'm not saying for this case study. In general, you need data mapping. You need to know what you gave to them, what they have. You need to know which kind of damage each component can have and can what you should do, how you could monitor. And if there is something complicated, is the internal threat. And the main reason is because internal threat is binded to processes, HR, legal. There is a lot behind it. It's not only security. It's way more. It's really binded also to to the country. And so you should be capable to prepare in advance, understanding which kind of capability you have, also based on each country. And actually, the supply chain should become part of a contract because I do think that the way how incident response communicate should be part of the contract and is not just a service level agreement kind of problem. So think about it, and everybody does have different experiences coming from different sectors. There are sectors more mission critical oriented where the impact is human life, and some of these points are already addressed on those sectors for obvious reason. There are other places that are more availability oriented and way less confidentiality and integrity. But right now, the picture changes, especially with the data privacy regulation. And the message of um, this video is think on all process around and at the top. It's not, it should be your board to propose it. They should feel confident on presenting at the TV. They should have the time to prepare. Be a good speaker at a wedding is completely different than at a funeral. So we need to prepare in each case, and all this preparation work is going to give result in case of incidents. And you are going to create less pressure to the team, clear communication, having experience with exercise, knowing already which area should have been announced, have communication channel tested. A lot of case studies show how difficult it is to have communication when actually part of attack are the communication channel. So do simulations of that is critical. So as a rule, I'm trying to keep all this video quite short, and so I think I will cut it. I tried to be straight to the point, but feel free to contact me, subscribe to get notified when there is new content, and let me know. This one is food for food. Feel free to talk and discuss. You post down below, and talk you soon. Take care. Cheers.